Trin asked a question in relation to the Form 80. So she asked, in relation to question 25 on the Form 80, what is your main reason for remaining in Australia? Now, that's a quick and easy one. We say to be with my Australian partner. I mean, if you're applying for a partner visa, and that's why they're requesting a Form 80, or that's why you're providing a Form 80, that's the purpose of your stay, and that's the reason you're applying for the visa. So there's no need to try to hide that. Just say to be with my Australian partner. The second questions were in relation to questions 34 and 35 of the form and Australian visa history, and the lack of flexibility in the form and what it's asking. So in that form, in that section of the form, it's asking for prior immigration visa history to Australia and the date of entry and the date of departure. Now, the reality is that, like in Trin's case, she hasn't departed, so there isn't actually a date of departure. So that's the starting point. If there is no date of departure, you don't need to put a date of departure. You leave that blank. And then this is, just a general approach to the Form 80. If there's things you don't know or can't provide, you can leave some things blank or try to provide answers that are as complete as you can get. Sometimes there's going to be missing information. It's going to be things you don't know, can't recall exact dates, can't recall exact locations, can't recall exact periods of time, exact names. That happens all the time with the Form 80. It's a very comprehensive form, and it's normal for things to not always be all there 100%. So try to answer that form as best you can as a starting point, but just understand your visa is not going to be refused if you can't recall a specific date. Try to give as close as you can, okay? And in relation to question 34 and 35, if it's asking for an arrival date, well, you just put the arrival date probably of the first visa you entered on, because that's your arrival date. Really, from there, if you were granted subsequent visas, in the arrival date, I would suggest just putting the date of approval. Okay, so put the date of approval as the arrival date for those kind of subsequent visas. And in the departure date column, if you haven't departed, you leave that blank. Okay, there's no need for you to do anything. The reality is that the government know all this. They have your visa history, your immigration history, and your travel history. They know the dates you've gone, the dates you've come back, and they know the visas you've been granted. So they can always double check these things. If they really need the information, they'll have it available to them. But ultimately, you're trying to make their job as easy as possible, and you're trying to answer this as comprehensively and as accurately as you can. But don't get caught up on, not recalling specifics, and especially things like this. It's the way they phrase that question isn't even relevant to a lot of people. Trin, in relation to those questions, that's how I would suggest you would answer them.